and we are joined by Steve Dagostino, the head trainer of DAG's Basketball that's absolutely exploded. Who doesn't use DAG's Basketball? And I can remember when DAG's Basketball was kind of an idea, just a kind of an idea, and now it's X amount of years later, it is booming in the capital region, and we welcome Steve to the program. Good morning, Steve Dagostino.
Good morning. How you guys doing?
Fantastic. How about you?
I'm doing great, and I'll tell you why. I usually get like a little nervous when I'm going on the radio, but I'm in the car going down to Connecticut to do a clinic, and I have my media coach, Zach Bai, sitting right next to me. So I know that if I mess up anytime, I'll get some good coaching at least afterwards.
Zach's the man. Tell him we said hello.
We're mad at Dag. Zach was supposed to go to lunch with Gaz and I today, and he can't anymore because Dag stole him from us.
Oh, yeah, he's working his part-time job being a trainer.
Let's start with Platek, Steve, because that was one of our headline stories this week, and that's got to be pretty exciting for you, right? You got Platek going to North Carolina, making that announcement on Monday, and you got Kevin Herter on Team USA, a couple of guys that you're very familiar with.
Yeah, absolutely, and I mean, how exciting is that for Andrew? Gilliland guy, and he's going to get a chance to play at the highest level of college basketball. And with that, they're bringing in NBA guys every year, so it's going to be a challenge for him. But it's one that, like, if you know Platek, he's a kid who loves challenges, right? So he competes every day, he works his butt off, and mentally he's a very smart kid, and he'll be able to figure out a way to get on the court and help the Tar Heels for sure.
Steve, how hard has Platek worked since I saw him at Guilderland? I knew he was a good player. I would not have predicted ACC and North Carolina for him, however. So what is he? Obviously, prep school has really helped him, and he's really worked hard. So that combination, playing against better competition, he's gotten to the point where a lot of major Division I schools were interested in him. But how much better has he really gotten over the last several years here?
Yeah, so what we try to do when we're like evaluating players and seeing what they really need to do to be successful is try and figure out what they need to do better. So it's not so much of working on their weaknesses, but what are their strengths and how can they get their strengths better? And I think it all started with Coach Parks and Coach Ozinski at Gilliland giving him the opportunity to play as a freshman. So he got a ton of varsity game reps early. And then what happened, most people that saw him around here, they saw a guy who was a volume shooter. So he shot a lot of shots. He shot a lot of bad shots. So he's learned, and credit to him, one of the things that he had to learn was not to take bad shots, and he could go from a 30% three-point shooter, and just by not even making any more shots, but just by not taking any bad shots, jump up to like a 45%, 50% three-point shooter, and that's what he's figured out, and that's what he's become. And what people don't really understand is he can play at North Carolina, yes, because he is an unbelievable shooter, but he can play there because he can guard at that level. So he's a kid who competes on every single possession, whether he's making shots or missing shots, whether his team's winning or losing, whether he's having a good day or a bad day. He can guard in the ACC, and that's why he's able to play at that level. Because you could be a great shooter and not be able to guard at that level, and you'll never be able to see the court or even get recruited by those schools.
Dags, Brady here. I think we all are familiar with people who use prep school as a bridge year between graduating high school and going to college, but Platek leaves school early to go to prep school. I think obviously it paid dividends for him, but what do you think about the precedent as a whole of a kid leaving their high school during, before he's graduated to go to prep school?
I think that's the new trend. I think what happens is a lot of the prep school coaches, they want the kid for 2 years. They don't just want a guy who's going to come in for 1 year and kind of be like a hit or miss type thing. They'll have 2 years to really, like we said, hey, identify what their strengths are, what they need to work on, and then have 2 years to not only go through the recruiting process, but also to develop the player as well. And it's a lot easier to do that with 2 years than 1 year. It kind of leaves the high schools in a bind because, Gilbert would have competed with Shen for a sectional championship if Platek was here last year. So it kind of left Gilbert in a bind, but at the same time, it gives the player a little more comfortability as well at the prep school.
Steve Dagostino with us, head trainer, DAG's Basketball, with Section 2 players going to the big time. Platek, Carolina, Kevin Herter to Maryland, currently playing on Team USA. They won again yesterday. I think he had 7 points. Looked like he might have struggled a little bit from the 3-point arc yesterday, but nevertheless a great opportunity for Kevin Herter. And then we're going to throw in the next guy we're going to be talking about here is, and we're already talking about him, but in terms of a major Division I college, is Joe Girard III. What do you see in this young man, Dags?
Yeah, so Joe's been coming into it. It's been cool. We've had some summer sessions this year where we've had, and there's another guy in between there that we have to talk about, but we've had sessions where there's been in the gym Platek, Joe Cremo, Kevin Herter, Hamir Right, Joe Girard, and Tommy Herter, who's going to Siena too, and they've been like unbelievable sessions of just these guys pushing each other and just really focusing on getting better every day. I think there's like, and now it's social media and all this stuff, there's so much hype that goes around, whether it's during the season, during AAU season, during the off season, where it's cool to see these guys just get in and really focus on, hey, I need to get better today, right? And what they've all done a good job of is pushing each other, and it just helps them get better while they work out with each other. But Joe Girard's been the youngest guy in that crowd, and obviously he can make shots, but I really like about him is, like Platek, he's a competitor. So, like, he doesn't care if it's Joe Cremo, the American East Player of the Year, or Freshman of the Year, he's going against him in one-on-one. If Joe scores on him, Cremo scores on him, Girard's going to be mad, and he's going to show that he's mad, and he's going to come back the next time and really try to get a stop. So I think that's the biggest thing for him is, like, not only is he a high IQ player, he's a scorer, but he's a competitor, too.
Well, he's going to go major Division I. I don't think there's any question about that. And Hamir Right is another one from Albany Academy, and he's going to make his decision here sometime soon, right? And he's another kid that will play at the major Division I level. Yeah, and he's a kid who's got like all the tools, 6'8", he's super long, and if you look, like, obviously he's going to go to a Villanova, Syracuse, a high major school, but, you look at guys in the NBA, and a guy with his body type is a commodity. A 6'8" guy who's long, who can defend multiple positions, and he can make shots, too. He's young, so he might be going, I think I saw on Twitter the other day, he's thinking about after his senior year at Academy doing 1 year of prep just to get himself ready for college. Who knows what he'll do with that, but I know he's young for his grade, too, so I'm looking for him too. He's got a lot of little things, like he's going out to the LeBron camp in California at the end of this month. We've talked to him a lot about not twisting on his shot, and Coach Fruscio does a great job with him as well. And all these guys, it's so cool to see. I can't remember ever, like in the 518, just all these guys being able to play high major basketball. The game's shifting to, you got to be a smart player, you got to understand how to play, and all these guys, not only are they smart players, they're competitors, but they're good kids too.
Dags, I think, Kevin Herter played baseball and basketball, but I think that is starting to become the anomaly. Are you seeing that to get to that level more and more so now you have to specialize and start doing things like DAG's basketball in the off season? Is that becoming a trend that you're seeing, and what do you think of that?
I think not just DAG's basketball, but I think you constantly have to work on whatever you want to do, whether you're playing a sport or, you're playing an instrument or you want to win the spelling bee or whatever. You always have to put in time, but I think it works both ways. I think a lot of people do too much, and they're not doing the right thing. So, like, yeah, you can go to the gym for an hour and a half, but if you're not doing the right thing, it can almost be counterproductive, right? So, I'm not into specializing, especially when you're, like, in middle school, but as you get up there when you're in 9th, 10th, 11th grade, especially with basketball, you always have to have a basketball in your hand. And if you're doing the right things with it, and that's what we try and do with DAG's basketball, we've weeded out all the nonsense. So, like I said before, it's cool to see guys come in and, hey, I don't care who you're getting recruited by or if you had a terrible AAU game this weekend, like, we can get better today. It's, whatever it's Thursday, in July, we can get better today, and that's our main focus. And if you're going about it that way, and you're doing the right things, and it's definitely something that, you got to be working all year round for sure.
Dags, I'm glad you clarified, though. You said, older, 9, 10, those years, because I like to see the young guys, and you work with the younger guys, too, and we'll get into that a little bit, and how anybody listening that wants to get more information on DAG's basketball, you can direct us to where to find out more. But, I got a 9-year-old, and yeah, he plays basketball, but he plays baseball, and he plays football, and I think at a young age like that, I think multiple sports and not honing in on just one, I think that's really healthy.
Yeah, it definitely does, and it changes up for the kid. You know, you're really working on, when you're that young, you're working on your athletic ability. So, like, I played soccer when I was younger, so to me, as a point guard, too, it allowed me to learn how to play the ball into space and see movements and see how people cut, and it helped, and it transferred over to basketball. You know, when you start, only playing basketball when you're 10, I think what happens to the kid is they're doing the same thing over and over, and they get bored with it. So naturally, if they come in for a practice or a workout, they're not giving 100%. They're not 100% focused, and it's like I said, it can be counterproductive at times. So I'm big into that, and we have kids who are 9 and 10 who come to us, and they come in and they work hard, and then they go and be a kid for the rest of the day. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where it can get kind of overwhelming for the kid, and the ones that we see do well are the ones who have balance and who are doing the right things and not wasting any time.
Well, you tell your partner, Zach By, that remind him he has a session with Brady Wyland tomorrow, taking him out of Saddlewood camp at whatever time, working him out, and then taking him back. Tell Zach that is a thumbs up tomorrow to work with the 9-year-old. Your DAG's basketball has exploded. Anybody who wants to get a whole lot better and team individually, everyone turning to DAG's basketball. For those who don't know about DAG's basketball, Steve, can you tell us how they can sign up and where they can get more information?
Absolutely. DagsBasketball.com has all the information. You can follow us on Twitter and Facebook and all that stuff. We're just at DAG's Basketball. And let me just add real quick, too, we've added Shaver Mursky, who does a ton of stuff for us with the middle school age kids, and then Julie McBride on the women's side as well, who was the all-time leading scorer at Syracuse. They're now a part of DAG's Basketball. So we have a pretty good 3-man crew up top training the kids in the area, and it's we've been lucky enough that people have bought into what we're teaching, and we're excited to keep doing it.
Stephen, always a pleasure. Guys, have a safe trip. Tell Zach we said hello, and we'll talk to you down the road. But congrats on a fun week with Platek going to North Carolina. You were a big part in his development, so congrats on that, my man.
Thanks, guys. Love hearing you on 104.5 too. Good luck with everything.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.